sir. Thank you very much. Hello. Just put this right here. First things first, I do apologize that you have to look at me for the next 9 minutes and 50 seconds. I do have more of a face for radio, but we'll get through that in a minute. I went to the prestigious Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York, where I met my beautiful wife, and I also met a really dear friend who I lost to cancer in the prestigious city of Rochester, where I grew up, where the Mayo Clinic is. And not to get too political, as you can see, it's entitled Weediatrics. I started looking into the Arizona state laws as far as medicinal cannabis and its uses. And I started to look into what it's doing for the children, and children with, diseases like doja and diseases like severe epilepsy for children. And I'm talking about cannabis, and I'm talking about children, and mothers know rest, and mothers also know best. You can see Paige and the Fiji family who went in Colorado to discover the Stanley brothers. I apologize for the spelling error. I'm not sure if they caught that. Nope, it's still there. My apologies. Through, your, whatever. My brain goes off in weird ways, and my wife reels me back in, which is always good. In the Fiji family, their daughter started using cannabis at the age of 5 years old. And she went from 400 seizures a week, which was an average of about 12 to 1,400 a month, to 3 a month within the first use. And what I'm talking about with cannabis, which I'll get to the different types here in a moment, when I'm talking about cannabis, I don't want you to think about guys like me smoking out of an apple behind a high school, with a dime bag, So with referring to the children, I do need to put on a little artillery, which I brought in my little lunchbox. And this lunchbox signifies the importance that we start to know what we're feeding our children, more than just the food, but also medicine. I'm going to put on a little camouflage because you looked at me as a cook for a while there, but now you may look at me as a witch. So I'll put on a little camo here. So now, if I look like a witch, now you can't see me. I started using cannabis and making salves with local animal fat, and these animals come off the farms in Mesa, which is a city that I also met a young family who had a boy that was so severely autistic that he was physically abusive only towards himself. Broken teeth, broken nose. What I did was went into the family, got to know the family, sat down, and introduced a CBD intensive cannabis program with the family. And this is all legal. I don't bring any medicine with me. I bring local vegetables off the farms of Peoria, the farms of Goodyear. I learned that's how you say that. I'm from Minnesota, so maybe you can tell by my Nordic face. Speaking of Nordic, my grandmother ended up getting a few skin cells removed, some precancerous cells. So I get a phone call from Grandma, and my wife and I were expecting our first daughter this November, first child, I should say. And my grandmother says, my last name's Curry, she says, "Are the initials going to be THC? Because that would be great." And this is my grandma, who is, 21 years old forever, 6'15", German and Norwegian, and that's that family. And Grandma was having problems with her skin salve. Like these children, a lot of them have had multiple medications that just don't work. I met a lot of these families at the local farmers market, suffering from these horrible treatments, this invasive treatment where they put something the size of a hockey puck into a young child. Go play on the playground. Well, here's a handful of medication. Kids on the couch. So these moms and these families, they look out to somebody like me who understands fats and food, but also understands how to take care of people. And I think that's where we went wrong with Generation Text, which we'll get to in a little while. But for me, this is the importance of this speech, is that you understand this. It's called Reefer Gladness, not Reefer Madness. That was a while back with Grandma, who I ended up sending that salve to Sent me results 2 days later via text on an iPhone. That's amazing to see Grandma doing that, I think, let alone her skin healing. It's kind of incredible. No, I don't want to play candy cane or whatever that candy Ooh. It's all about the children. You got to watch that mouth. I'm on a 5-second dimmer, as I call it. THC. This is the highest high that you will feel off of cannabis. This is that point that you used to go and want to hide in the corner of someone's place while they're listening to the wall. Your face is up against the wall, and you're like, shut it down. CBN, which is a cannabinol, which is good for nighttime insomnia. People like myself who used to drink themselves to sleep, which is no joke. If any of you know me, you know I made the wise decision to cut that out. And cannabis is a huge reason that I was able to do that. In the restaurant business, 21 years. Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. We're not sure. It ate me up. So I came to the beautiful state of Arizona where I can have a cannabis card. Why? Anxiety, depression, whatever you want to call it. I just want to live longer. With CBDs and CBNs, this reacts on the inside of your body. This isn't the psychosis part of cannabis. When I get up in the morning and you'll see a few recipes and start juicing, I'm not trying to get stoned and then go run the restaurants. The THC activates inside your brain, which starts to affect the nervous system. These are two of those receptors that it affects. That's where you start getting weird. The CBN, the cannabinol, like I said, it's a sleep aid. Why are we taking these formulas made by some giant manufacturing company when we can do stuff in our own bathtubs? Well, maybe not that. That's for the wine, right? At least my Minnesota family. It's great for antibacterial. You can see it helps to heal broken bones of Generation Text. And this, I apologize for this horrible slide. When you go home tonight, Google the benefits of CBD. Cannabidiol or bidiol, depending on where you're from. That's what I want you to remember tonight, and that's what I want you to think about when you hear the word cannabis. With me, curiosity, it has a high fact content. If this doesn't show, which it obviously doesn't, which is just perfect. See, and the reason why that's perfect is I'm a Gemini and a twin on top of it. So it's like, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to have that or that. You don't get the other parts. No, 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 Mr. Curry. All right. I apologize. That was 9 minutes of wasting your time. Let's get back on track. I hope you're taking notes. You have to practice what you teach. You can't go out there and be like, oh, I'm, this high... I can murder a lot of things. One, that last speech, and two, my career with coming and saying this to you guys. The fact that I'm using cannabis to feed the children looking like Ronald McDonald may affect more people than it'll help. When I go into the homes, I don't go in there with a sugar-based diet. I go in there with natural things, live pollens, oats, grains, coconut oils. We use natural oils to do this. With the Fiji family, it's the Charlotte's Web. It was made with olive oil and cannabis. Wow. 2 ingredients, imagine that. Here's something that I like to do in the morning. I do smoothies, kale, turmeric, cannabis, the outer leaves, which are heavy in CBD, a good amount of black pepper, and I puree that, and I drink it. I don't go to work again. I'm not driving stoned. There's no psychosis effect of this cannabis. And thanks to the state of Arizona, I can go to these dispensaries that can teach you about all this kind of stuff. You can come to the restaurants. You can order your cocktail, put in your own little tincture if you want to, and you can do your own thing. Instead of drinking alcohol or instead of taking an Ambien, you know how to direct yourself once you decide to make your own decisions. Grapes of Wrath, that one gets kind of scary. So, this is a morning syrup. Am I there yet? Simple maple syrup, keef, which is the outer pollens of the cannabis that you can buy at these dispensaries. And you use a little bit of water. In the Midwest, we call it crock pot. That's the Minnesota sous vide. Any of you know about cooking? Come on. Come on, the Minnesota sous vide is the crock pot. You set it and forget it. See you later. Jeopardy's on. Shh, kids, play. Simple coconut oil. Again, cannabis trim, a little bit of keef water and a little bit of cannabis oil. You use some of these CBD, CBN-rich ointments on your knees, on your joints, no pun intended. It'll make you feel good, right? For a lot of these patients, and when I say patients, I say that because that's how they refer to themselves, because they have little things that ask me, what is patient number 5845? I can't tell them that's their name, but just to the hospital. Munchies are the good thing. It's the thing that's going to help them gain weight. It's going to help them, gain muscle atrophy, common, couch, pills. Kids not going anywhere. They're not going outside. Hummus. That medicated hummus. Quick, simple. We'd enjoy dinner as a family. Marinara, Yankee pot roast, twice-baked potatoes. Go any direction you want. But this is serious stuff here, folks. Baked with kindness. Be kind to yourself. The fruit bowl-ups are amazing. They look good for the skin, too. A little marinated fruit. A little of that over some Go-Gurt. How about that, Driscoll? And you have to salve the world. And when I say this, you see that icy halt rub? Yeah, that's all natural. 3 ingredients. Pig fat, cannabis, fresh turmeric. Grandma's skin is now healed. It's the CBD and the THC-rich topicals. Helps with sore throats, and I'm not even kidding. If you have any of your friends that go to these dispensaries, have them look for some of these salves, and there's 0 THC in them at all. So you're not going to be walking around like a zombie in the dead. Thank you very much. I went overtime, which only happens here, never in the bedroom. Thank you.